Good morning, Texas and Louisiana. We are here. Impact Money. David Porter, how are you doing?
Fantastic. We are live coming out of Texas and Louisiana. Impact Money. Got David Porter and Bruce Porter Jr. How's it going, Bruce?
Doing fantastic. I tell you what, it's never a dull moment in the world. We have a lot going on. Of course, we have many people that are meeting over in Davos, and they're doing all those crazy things that we always see them do, funny performances. We'll have some of that and some more news coming to you right after this message from Smart Money Culture TV. Okay, hello world. So they're going to play Smart Money Culture. We're starting to get this software down a bit for a few minutes here, and then we'll go from there. So a lot going on. We have the Bitcoin and the other cryptos continue a pullback. Buy the rumor, sell the news, as they would say with this ETF, I think. We have other commodities and different things that are going up, like oil and stuff like that. Of course, we have Donald Trump, who is going for he's running for the third time here in the United States, as all of you guys know, and he is, of course, heading into a primary in New Hampshire. That is, I guess, from what he's saying, a lot of Democrats are going to get to vote in. I did just that's a short clip, so I can play that.
It's too funny how the Democrats they don't have a debate, they don't have a choice. What type of situation was that? I wonder how many times that's been done in the past elections.
Yeah, I know. I hear that. Here is the man himself here, Donald Trump, the most feared or loved man, depending on who you are in America, right, or the world even. Here he is. Here
we are leading Biden, so Democrats are allowed to vote, which they're going to vote for her because they don't want to run against me. They want to run against her. You know, it's a very simple system. We are leading Biden in every poll. Michigan just came out. We're leading by 11. Georgia just came out. We're leading by 13 points. We're leading everywhere now. And she's not. You know, she has one obsolete poll that she likes. She's about 2 months old, where she was leading Biden. Well, those days are gone. She's not leading Biden anymore. The problem is the Democrats want her to run desperately. So they have a lot of Democrats signing up in New Hampshire. And so Democrats are allowed to vote, which they're going to vote for her because they don't want to run against me. They want to run against her. You know, it's a very simple system. We are leading Biden in every poll. Michigan just.
Well, you know, it is kind of funny. And, you know, these things that they've been, I guess, I don't want to know if you want to call them. I'll just say they've been in that way. I don't want to say they're rigged. I guess they're that way. They've been that way for a long time. That's apparent. That's how we do our primaries. So even this, you know, the whole system's kind of set.
So how do they do that? You're supposed to be like a registered Democratic candidate voter or a registered Republican candidate voter, but they've been able to cross the lines. And
well, so the deal is that you're supposed to be a registered Republican. Like in Virginia, we have to be a registered Republican in order to vote in the Republican primary. But I'm not sure, you know, how that plays out as far as
they really pull all the stunts, man.
They really do. They got it down, man. It would say it's a big club and you're not in it. No, I mean, like I said, the rule's been around forever. All right, now we are coming back on in Texas. Welcome again, Texas and Louisiana, for joining in. We actually just played Donald Trump, President Donald Trump. I'll play that again since you guys just came back on, talking about New Hampshire and coming up, and the Democrats want to run against Nikki Haley.
So Democrats are allowed to vote, which they're going to vote for her because they don't want to run against me. They want to run against her. You know, it's a very simple system. we are leading Biden in every poll. Michigan just came out. We're leading by 11. Georgia just came out. We're leading by 13 points. We're leading everywhere now. And she's not. You know, she has one obsolete poll that she likes. She's about 2 months old, where she was leading Biden. Well, those days are gone. She's not leading Biden anymore. The problem is the Democrats want her to run desperately. So they have a lot of Democrats signing up in New Hampshire. And so Democrats are allowed.
So, yeah, it's pretty, it's an interesting situation that we have there. Now, chances are, of course, he has tremendous support. One thing about Trump is you either love him or you hate him. It's both. They love him and they hate him. So that'll be interesting, and that's coming right up. Of course, we have that the New Hampshire primary. It'll be here very quickly. Of course, we have continued to have the world has continued to be a very volatile place over the last little bit. I guess I'll just continue on my screen here.
Well, they do need you to continue to stay tuned. So the volatility is part of keeping the eyes on the screen.
Volatility is part of keeping the eyes on the screen. Russia or Ukraine bombed a oil depot in Russia. So that's
I like the oil smoke.
I mean that's gonna play. That's gonna play pretty harsh. You know, he always responds. Putin and his team, they always respond pretty rough to these things. They're pretty rough on these things. And of course, we keep we keep funding all of this stuff. This is pretty funny. I was wondering. This is the World Economic Forum, as you know, is going on. And this, I mean, did you see this? Did you see this, David? This is pretty funny, actually.
No, I didn't see this.
I mean, what are they doing? What are they doing out here?
I call that funny business.
I don't even want to watch the whole thing. I feel like she's casting a spell on us.
That's for sure.
Right? We'll get more on. I agree. It's voodoo. I agree. That's what it looks like to me. I haven't been able to watch the whole thing. I'm like, okay, I can't watch this. So that's more kind of, I would say, madness from over there. Let's and we're in an election year. We're going to talk about more of that. We'll bring Matt on in a minute. Interesting day we had on the stock market yesterday as well. Stock market was like the Dow Jones. It dove, and then they printed up some money or something, man. I mean, it was like down, 37.1 almost here. What did we at? 37.183. And then up basically 300 points to end the day. That looks to me like the printing press went brrr. And they pumped a bunch of money in there. But of course, the guys will have some better insight in it to me. That's what that looks like. That looks like some election year stuff that comes in there. If we look at Dow futures, we're here with the Dow futures at about 71 points up. This is about where we started yesterday. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Or maybe yesterday we were down actually a little bit. And then we are a little bit lower on my screen. It's not the screen. It's this one.
Are we live on Instagram?
We should be live on Instagram, yes.
Nice.
Yes, thanks. You can see here that oil is continuing to climb. It's continuing to climb here. 74.36 on crude oil. Natural gas had a pullback yesterday, a little bit of a pump and then a pullback. Pretty interesting. The Houthis have continued to wreak havoc over there in the Red Sea, and they are really causing a lot of problems. It seems like no matter how much Biden and team bomb these guys, that they are going. It's fairly easy, it seems like, for them to lob some missiles at these cargo ships and whatnot. So they have been enforcing their embargo of these different areas. So will be interesting to see how that plays out. Let's go ahead and bring on Matt Dixon with Eve.io. Matt is MD Trade on X. How are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you. Hi, guys. Hi, David. Hi, Bruce. Hi, everybody.
So volatile.
It's crazy. We say that so often, but these are crazy times. So what was NATO talking about? What were they on about when they just said they warned the West to prepare for all-out war with Russia within the next 20 years? Now, first of all, they don't even know what's going to happen next year. So how can they prepare in 20 years? But it just seems to me, what were they trying to do? Are they trying to warn Russia? They're trying to warn us? What's behind that?
It is, it's funny. They also mobilized 90,000 troops for training, right? So they're putting together, it's like kind of this show of force. Also getting the 90,000 troops together. I guess they've been at this proxy war with Russia for the last year or two.
Yeah, I know. I honestly don't know what that's about. I actually put a question on Twitter just asking people what their thoughts were. I have no idea what that's about, coming from NATO and then that World Economic Forum. Are they serious? It's crazy. So I'm just going to go.
I feel bad making fun of them too much because, of course, we have friends there, all of us. But, it is kind of funny. They seem a little bit more detached from reality than normal. Or am I just paying more attention? I don't know which.
Yeah. Is it an entertainment show? Is it, I don't know. Yeah.
The entertainment I've seen come out of there so far leaves a lot to be desired. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go through half a dozen charts back to what back to my strength, I think. Some really amazing stuff I'm going to show you today. But just first of all, just a quick look at the S&P 500. As you say, yesterday, just what a turnaround. And look at those green candles there, pushing to, again, we've got room for just a touch higher. Once it goes above this level, 4807, it basically invalidates this particular count and says we're potentially going higher. But we're there's a lot of resistance there. So let's just see how it goes today. Let's see what happens. As you say, Dow futures up slightly. I think they're up 71. So let's just see what happens. DXY, so dollar index, again, you've seen a powerful move there, broke above that channel. And this is inversely correlated normally. So the fact it moved down a little bit last couple of days is why probably we've seen the S&P 500 pushing up, as we just saw on the previous chart. So let's see what happens. I think it's looking as though we are actually going to go higher on dollar index before we potentially turn down. So if that's the case, we could see a turnaround in the Dow and the S&P again today. So there's been some dramatic swings on those markets, hasn't there? So let's move on to oil. So as you say, there's been some stuff going on. Pakistan, I think, were bombing Iran overnight, as far as I'm aware. We've seen lots of worrying little bits of escalation going on there, and we see the oil price pushing up in response. So we saw in the last couple of days it's pushed up about 6%, 6 or 7%, which is quite a lot when you think about how it impacts prices, how it potentially impacts inflation, and then interest rate expectations. So these things do have an impact on the world because oil is one of the biggest drivers of prices in terms of not just at the pump, but also transportation, also just manufacturing in general. So let's keep a close eye on this because we've seen 5 waves up, 3 waves down. So potentially we've got a lot higher to go on oil. So a bit of a warning sign. the more interesting chart, I'm really going to focus a little bit on Bitcoin in a minute, but we'll just have a quick look at Solana, because it did precisely what was expected. I showed you this chart yesterday, said we look as though we're about finishing a B wave and going to push down, and I had this arrow. I haven't changed this chart. This is what I had on yesterday, and look what's happened. We've fallen 6-7% since yesterday on Solana. So if you're following this carefully, potentially this is informative. It empowers traders. You can make money once you understand it, and we're going to come on to the real.
And Matt, we're going to go to commercial break as well in Texas, and we'll be back in 3 minutes with them.
Okay.
It is kind of funny playing this. We're still getting the software. Of course, Smart Money Culture TV is our host, and we're trying to jump through the hoops there. So for about 3 minutes, we'll be on commercial there. You know, obviously we still have our viewers around the world that are watching, so I don't want to, but I don't want to miss anything either. So let's maybe dive into Solana right after that, I guess. This is live. We're working it. It is interesting, I think, with, I think oil. So where can people trade oil futures?
I mean, there's all sorts of platforms where you can trade oil futures. There are many platforms, FX platforms. They do, there are multi-platforms where you can trade oil. You can trade the indices. You can trade oil futures. There's NYMEX. You can basically, it can be traded virtually everywhere. I don't trade oil, but I watch oil. Same as there's a lot of things, as I was saying yesterday, I don't trade them, but they're really important because they're drivers of the rest of the markets. So as we said yesterday, Dow Transportations, they're not at an all-time high, whereas Dow Industrials are. And that's possibly because of the oil price and the troubles in the Middle East with transportation there.
That is interesting. I'm also sharing your code here for the Elliott Wave software.
Well, what I'm going to do in a minute, I'm going to just show you how powerful that is, because it is absolutely mind-blowingly powerful. This was Ralph Elliott, 1930s, devised this system called Elliott Wave. And it basically says that the market moves in kind of predictable wave pattern. And you can predict the market, again, combining it with Fibonacci, which is another very famous mathematician who devised this number sequence. And you combine them both together, and it's really predictive. And I'm just going to show you how predictive. It's just absolutely amazing. We showed it the other day on Ethereum, and you got from the top to the bottom of Ethereum, you could actually predict it to within $1. And we're talking about Ethereum going from 4,800 or something down to, $700, $800. And it predicted it to within $1. So it's that precise.
It is amazing. I mean, you and I have known each other for years at this point, and that is, it has the timing is usually right on, but sometimes you can't predict everything. But it always follows. It like almost always follows this wave. It's pretty interesting stuff. Charting is very interesting. Overall.
Yeah, let me know when I can jump back in to
share. We are 50 seconds from jumping back in, and we'll probably in the future we'll set up some of our own commercials that we'll play during this time as well.
Yeah, I mean the thing is about Elliott Wave, it actually predicts price levels really, really well. So this is okay with this this link here. It gives you access to Wave Basis platform, which is an automated Elliott Wave. It's actually taken me many years to learn Elliott Wave really well. This is an automated system. It's a US company. It's really nice. I mean, I still prefer to do the analysis myself. But, if you don't want to take a few years to learn it properly, then this can do a lot of it for you. It's still good to, even if you're learning it, it's actually good to have an automated system like this, just to, as a sort of teacher, to check your counts, check if it's valid, etc. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's a great resource.
And we are leading right back in. Welcome again with us in Texas and Louisiana, right back where we dropped off with Mr. Dixon.
Yeah, so I'm going to jump straight back in. I'm assuming once again, I'm hoping you can actually see my screen there again.
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. So this is Elliott wave counts. Go basically, I can, because this is a live screen, I can just show you, very simply. It counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is an impulse. So we've got a 4 down we're working on, then a 5 up to give us. That should actually say 5 there. I mean, I can change it. Doesn't really matter. So up to a wave 5. So what I was saying was yesterday we actually were able to predict in advance a 7% move in Solana. And that's a lot of money you can make in one day potentially. But what I really want to move on to, we'll rush through these because I want to get onto Bitcoin, the big one, the one that's the ETF approval, because that's the one that everyone's watching. But also, there's so many different technical tools you can use. We've actually got, we're running a trading program, a learning program called learnhowtotrade.club. But this is interesting, just looking at Ethereum. This was the Fibonacci measurement that gave us the bottom of Ethereum to within $1 at 800 and what was it, 869, somewhere around there was the bottom to within $1. Since that, we've been in a parallel channel. We touched the baseline 1, 2, 3, 4 times on the baseline. The parallel one we touch here, and we touch the top of the parallel channel, and price came down. This was when ETF, the Bitcoin ETF, got approval. And just look, we bounced off that channel. So it's amazing how it's all linked together. So potentially we've got lower to go on Ethereum, but let's look at the real, the big one, the big driver. This is the long-term one where potentially we've got either 1 or A, 2 or B, 3 or C higher. ABC means we're actually going to go much lower, or if it's 1, 2, 3, we've got 4 and 5 higher. But let's just focus in on the real power of what we've got here. I'll need to expand this so you can actually see what I'm doing. But what I've said was that when we're moving in an impulsive direction, that can be up or down. It just means the main direction of the trend that we're going moves in 5 waves. So we've got here in blue, we've got wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. Now, this is the Bitcoin ETF approval point here. That's when we got the Bitcoin ETF approval. We got a little bit of a pump in price. Then price started dropping in wave 1. So what I did, I can move this around. I measure using this Fibonacci measuring tool, 100%. That's wave 1 is 100%. And I can move that, just transpose it anywhere. It's a fixed measurement now. All I do is put it to the top of wave 2. And look at it. It gave me the bottom of wave 3, the 1.618, the golden ratio. And that's seen throughout nature. It's just an amazing mathematical number, 0.618, the golden ratio. It told me the bottom of wave 3 to within a fraction. In fact, absolutely the spot on told me where wave 3 was going to. And look at it, it was actually a spike in the chart. But you knew this in advance. When you saw wave 2, you measured wave 1, transposed to wave 2, it gave you the bottom of wave 3 exactly. Then we got wave 4, and now we're working on the 5th wave. Now, what's interesting is these impulsive waves, they're like Russian dolls, as I said, they work in fractals. So waves within waves. So wave 1 itself is broken into 5 waves. Wave 2 is a corrective 3-wave up. Wave 3 is a 5-wave impulse. So wave 3 itself, we can see here, is broken into smaller 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we got wave 4, A, B, C in wave 4. And then the 5th wave is broken up into 5 waves. But what is amazing, we saw 1.618 here for wave 3 within this 3rd wave here. Look at the 5th wave. Again, you can measure the 1st wave there, which is precisely from that top there down to the bottom there of wave 1. Again, you can just move it around anywhere, transpose it to the top of wave 2, and look at it. Once again, gave you the precise turning point of wave 3. So you get on a short sell there, you know where to close your trade, take your profit. So many traders, people in this business don't know where to take profit. Well, here, 1.618, the golden ratio, take your profit.
The hardest thing to do.
It's amazing. I mean, so precisely. Again, Ethereum, you could have got it from 4,800 or whatever it was at the top down to 800. So $4,000, massive profit potential there. So we're now going to probably work. Now we've got a wave 4 complete or near complete, and then we're going to get a 5th wave down, most probably to around this area, because
which
now
is
that's around the 40,000 area for Bitcoin.
Yep.
And then we'll probably get a push higher. Now, the important thing here to remember is this is in 5 waves down. So 5 waves can be either wave 1 or wave A. The move up would be wave 2 or wave B. But what we're saying is there should be a move up, probably to somewhere in the region of 45,000 area, somewhere around there in a wave 2. Wave 2's, there's a little bit more variability there. You don't normally get such precise Fibonacci relationships on the way up in a wave 2. They're corrective. They tend to be a bit choppy in fashion, whereas a wave 3 here is really impulsive, strong waves down, and they're very precise normally to a perfect Fibonacci relationship, which is normally minimum 1.618. But wave 2s can be a bit choppy, but we'd expect it in this sort of region, and then we'd expect a further move down. Now, we're not saying, what we're saying is, if this is wave 1 and this is wave 2, then basically we're headed much lower on Bitcoin, but it could just be wave A, wave B, and then wave C, and then we push on to new highs to come on Bitcoin. But what we're saying is, it doesn't matter which way you are, whether you're a bull or you're a bear, longer term. Short term, we're expecting a bit more of a move down before we push up a bit. So you can trade these on a kind of daily basis, not too actively, but it's just really powerful tools that you've got. So I've just shown you that. I'll just jump very quickly to the platform. This is the platform link that you just gave to automate it. So I've done all this manually, and I actually did all this before I even looked at wave basis. So here's my my count downwards, but wave basis, here's their automated count. So again, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, that was a 1.618. So again, absolutely amazing, extension there. So that's the 1.618 precisely there. And then we've got A, B, C, as I told you, in wave 4, and then wave 5, 1, 2, 3. Well, in fact, they haven't even finished 3 yet. So it's working down, as I said, on this final 5th wave here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and working down the 5th. So actually, it's pretty well, very similar to my wave count, almost identical to my wave count that I did manually. But this was automated. So you don't need to even understand Elliott wave. All you need to do is follow the numbers. So this can be done in an automated way. It's a relatively cheap resource. As I say, you can get a discount through that link I gave you, and that's a discount over and above anything that they'll give you. If you're interested in doing any charting yourself, trying to predict markets, this is a really good fundamental tool. As I say, Ralph Nelson Elliott, 1930s, fund managers and portfolio managers have used this Elliott wave analysis for all those years. That was how many years ago is that? 90 years, coming up to 100 years ago now. They've been using this. You combine it with a bit of fundamental knowledge, as we've been looking at the world, the fundamental world in geopolitics and macroeconomics and so on. Combine them together, and you've got some really powerful trading techniques. We can look at so much more, but obviously time is limited. But that's a nice short-term look. Here's just, I often touch on this one. This is looking at the inverse correlation. We looked at the dollar index before. Dollar index is the top one. We can see dollar index has shot up recently, and we can see Bitcoin has shot down recently. They're like looking in a mirror. They're completely different assets. But if you understand where the dollar's going, you can get a really good idea of where Bitcoin is going and other risk assets, not just Bitcoin. So dollar index, you can measure that clearly from back in the 1970s. So you can look at what drives the dollar index. And then we can look at Bitcoin, which has only been around since 2009, a recent asset. But because of this inverse correlation, you can really get a good idea, because you know what drives dollar index, you know about interest rates, you know about inflation, you know about how the geopolitics and how it impacts the dollar. So then we can predict much better where Bitcoin is going. So this empowers traders to make better trading decisions. So amazing tools that are available. So this is that wave basis that we talked about. As I say, I do it all manually myself, but I often use this because I can actually throw up a chart in 5 seconds, whereas manual analysis might take me half an hour to go through all the different possibilities.
Interesting. And now this is the website you were talking about.
Yeah, this is the wave basis website. That's right. Yeah. So this is the actual link again. It is, as I say, it's not essential. You can do it yourself, but it's taken me many years to learn Elliott wave properly, because there are lots of, it sounds simple, 5 waves down, 3 waves up, but there's actually many different kinds of corrective waves, and this actually factors them all in. There's what's called flat corrections, there's zigzag corrections, there's triangle corrections, there's double corrections, triple corrections, all sorts of different permutations. And this does it all for you automatically. So well done to those guys. But I'm still old school. I still love to do it all myself.
Pretty amazing tool.
Yeah, that is pretty amazing tool. And you can also just tune in every morning, Monday through Friday, and listen to Matt and have him chart these things. Did you pull that down, or did we pull that down by accident?
Yeah, I took it down. Yeah, I took it down. I'm sure viewers have had enough of charts right now, but I think hopefully we've conveyed the power of technical analysis combined with fundamental analysis to give you predictive, actionable insights into the market, into any market. And as we've said, cryptocurrency is becoming so much more of a mature asset class now. We've got the Bitcoin ETF approved. The next one down the line is possibly the Ethereum ETF. Approval might be coming maybe towards the end of Q1, I've heard.
Wow.
If that were the case, we saw a run up in Bitcoin all the way towards approval. And actually the smart guys knew that in advance, because we saw the discount in the Bitcoin Grayscale Trust. We saw that discount evaporating as we got towards, and then what that meant was that the Bitcoin price was appreciating, the discount was evaporating on that Bitcoin Trust. And so they knew what was happening, what was coming. They knew that approval was coming. So we got a massive run up in Bitcoin price. It left Ethereum behind, left Ethereum in its wake. But if Ethereum is the next one to get approval, SEC approval for an ETF, maybe Ethereum, maybe that's the next one to get a real good run up. So if you're asking me, what might be an interesting one to look at and do your analysis, maybe it's Ethereum. And then maybe again, we analyzed Solana yesterday. Solana, don't forget, when the market's going up, Solana goes up more. So that's what it's been to date. Anyway, historically, comes down more, but it also goes up more. So if we are looking at a bull market, then obviously right now at this moment, we're perhaps in a bit of a correction because of all this worldwide worry and concern, geopolitical concern. But if we can get that out of the way, and if we can get a bit of a solution, hopefully some respite in the Middle East, then that could give us a real good run up, because the Fed is going to print money. It's an election year. They're going to print money, to make sure this economy stays strong and is pumping, firing on all cylinders as they come into the election, because they want themselves to look really good. And it's not just the US. There's elections going on all around the world. So yes, they're going to want to pump money. They're going to want to pump these assets. And so I do think that, following a bit of a pullback now, I think there's real potential for a pump in the markets. So,
Yeah, I think obviously that the potential upside is good. I do think that they are going to have this ETF approval, and you're probably right. It'll probably be sometime in the first quarter. We have the Bitcoin halving coming up as well in April. So there is a big potential there as well, especially with a small leverage position on that, because you're looking at a double to all-time high on Ethereum, which it may or may not get to, I guess, leading into the ETF. But
yeah, obviously leverage is very much for professionals, and if you are tinkering with leverage, I've been trading for 30 years plus. And when it comes to crypto, my max leverage ever is 3 times. And even that is actually quite dangerous.
It is.
So, maybe 2 times leverage may be appropriate. But bear in mind, if you're 2 times leverage, if the price of the asset halves, you're wiped out completely. So that's why, you've got to treat it, it's a powerful tool, but it can also be a dangerous tool. Like all these things, nuclear power can be a powerful tool for the good of mankind, but it can also be a dangerous weapon. So the more powerful these things are, the more dangerous they potentially are as well. So leverage can be amazing as long as you're on the right side of it.
Yeah. Yes. Well, we all know that, don't we? Pretty interesting. Well, amazing. Did you want to as well touch on something else? I didn't remember if it was that website or if it was something else. How is Ave coming?
Internally, obviously we can't give too many of our secrets away, but we are So what we're basing this on, in traditional finance, all portfolios around the world, portfolio managers, they use something called the modern portfolio theory. That's basically the theory they base their allocations on. And they have something called the efficient frontier, and it actually combines assets in the most cost-efficient way in terms of risk and reward. So basically, you want the highest return possible for the risk that you're taking. So it uses something called modern portfolio theory and the efficient frontier. So what we've done at eBay is actually update that using the parameters that crypto has that are slightly different, because crypto, as we know, has limited supply. In many of the cryptos there's limited supply, like Bitcoin 21 million, Litecoin 84 million, and so on and so on. So because of that, and also limitations with liquidity, because the big cryptos hold nearly all the liquidity. It's nearly all held within Bitcoin and Ethereum and the big ones. And when you get lower down there, there's still some really exciting projects that make exciting investments, but there are concerns like liquidity, like slippage, which basically means when you put an order in, you might not get the price that you initially wanted, the slippage. The term is called slippage, and you don't get the price you want. So what we've built is a system which uses all the power of modern portfolio theory, but combines it with the quirks of cryptocurrency, liquidity, slippage, the limited supply, all those kind of things, and combines them together and uses artificial intelligence and machine learning. So it's using old theory with new technology to come up with a powerful system that can empower traders. And what this is, it's institutional grade information in the hands of ordinary everyday traders. And so you don't have to spend millions on research, because we've done it. We've done all the work and spent the millions on developing this system, which there's nothing like it at the moment that really does take hold of this solid theory, which is proven. As I say, all the fund managers around the world use it. So let's just update it and do away with all the bias. Because what happened in 2008, we know they were biased, the ratings agencies. So we're a ratings agency, but we've got rid of the bias because we're not dependent on a panel of human beings who you can pay them money to give you the right rating, which is effectively what happened allegedly in 2008. We have systems, artificially intelligent systems, using machine learning to come out with honest ratings, which actually do empower investors. So as I say, back in 2008, just go back to the old story, it was actually the institutions paid the rating agencies a lot of money to give them the rating. So there's some potential for bias there, because if you pay me some really good money, I might give you a really good rating. Maybe that's what happened. In fact, it is what happened.
I think that's how they work here in Washington too.
Yeah, but ours is an automated system using artificial intelligence, machine learning, and you pay us as much money as you want, and please do, but it doesn't impact the rating that you're gonna get. So people might complain about the rating, but actually it's just based on the data that's available. And rubbish in, rubbish out, as I say with computer programs. But if we gather the right data, which we are doing, then you put the right data in, and the artificial intelligence system will gather that data, will come up with an answer. But also, if the answer's not quite right, it'll learn, because it's intelligent, artificially intelligent. It'll actually learn and get better and better and better. And that's what we're finding with our systems. And this is what's, we've touched on this before, the power of artificial intelligence. We're actually in the early days, but it's going to be amazing, going to impact so many things in the world, as long as we don't blow up with what's going on in the Middle East and, civil war in America and all these things. The future's
caveats.
Bright. Yeah. The
All right.
future is very bright.
Well, thank you so much, Matt. It is always a pleasure.
Yeah, a pleasure too. Look forward to, we're going to get a rest. So look forward to
We're going to get a rest. We have the snow on the ground in Texas. There's snow on the ground in Washington, D.C. Kids are out of school. They're going to sleep in, make brownies and all that stuff. Maybe we'll make some snowmen, and we'll have a nice weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.
Fantastic. Have a good weekend, everybody. Bye for now.
Thanks, Matt. Well, so there you have it, folks. This is crazy times that we have. Absolutely, the market's going nuts. We have it is an election year. going to share my screen here again. Jamie Dimon. This is a pretty interesting call here, of course. I won't play his call on Bitcoin because, of course, he must not have bought enough Bitcoin because he's pretty sour about it. And he also says something on there that I'm not supposed to say on TV. But here he talks about Trump. I always wonder about these guys, why they say certain stuff. But, I mean, listen to what he has to say. And, of course, here we are in our election year, right?
We've got this great hand. But when people say MAGA, they're actually looking at people voting for Trump, and they think they're voting, and they're basically scapegoating them, that you are like him. But I don't think they're voting for Trump because of his family values. If you look, just take a step back, be honest. He's kind of right about NATO, kind of right about immigration. Mm-hmm. He grew the economy quite well.
China virus.
Tax reform worked. Yeah. He was right about some of China. I don't like what he did.
No, I said China virus.
Yeah, I understand. He may have been right. And I don't like how he said things about Mexico. I don't like, but he wasn't wrong about some of these critical issues. And that's why they're voting for him. And I think people should be a little more respectful of our fellow citizens. And when you guys have people up here, you should always ask the why. Not like it's a binary thing. You're supporting Trump, you're not supporting Trump. Why are you supporting
Trump? It's hard to hate
Trump?
75 million of your fellow Americans.
I agree.
It's done
and the Democrats have done a pretty good job with the deplorables, hugging onto their Bibles and their beer and their guns. I mean, really, could we just stop that stuff and actually grow up and treat other people with respect and listen to them a little bit? And I do think the economy will affect. And I think this negative talk about MAGA is going to hurt Biden's election campaign. Yeah. We've got this great hand.
I a lot of times when he says stuff, I don't agree with anything. But that was pretty interesting. Pretty interesting statement that he had there. Let's see here. There was something else I wanted to play here. This is pretty interesting as well. And I played this on our second show. We now have another show that we're doing at 12 noon Eastern Standard Times, live, of course, in Texas and Louisiana, as well as around the world. That's called the Porter Brothers Impact Live.
The Illuminati to overthrow the power of those predicted
world wars, which is, I think, what we have going on here. This was in 1871. This was predicted, and it really seems like what's going on right now. Let's have a listen to this.
Predicted 3 world wars. The first world war, he said, must be brought about, and I'm quoting from Albert Pike. The First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the czars in Russia and of making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. The divergences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the British and German empires will be used to foment this war. He says, quote, the Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. This war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism will be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel in Palestine. He's now thinking about this Third World War, and it says that it will be caused by the differences between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other. That's what it says. Meanwhile, the other nations,
interesting, right?
Once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economic exhaustion. Predicted.
Yeah, that's this was 1871. This was predicted, which, I think is it is really something else. It has been playing out right in front of us, and it's and now we have really just the governments, basically our governments, have been overtaken. There's really not a whole lot that we can do. We're being run by corporations. We're being run by different places. George Carlin, he is a visionary. Of course, I never even really knew this guy, but listen to what he had to say about it.
There's a reason education sucks, and it's the same reason that it will never, ever, ever be fixed. It's never going to get any better. Don't look for it. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want. Well, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interest. That's right.
George Carlin, a visionary. Who knew the guy was a visionary? I had a nice comment here on our post I wanted to pull up because Manny, nations do not teeter on the brink of war. Nations are just a bunch of people trying to live their lives, some clearly clinging on their cultural integrity due to the manufactured influx of migrants, psychopaths who drive that mass migration with all the money and power, however, need big war to drive their agendas, including messing with the food supply chain. See the Suez attacks. Human capital is of no concern. We will change this. We must, we will. Side note, migration is normal and natural, but what is happening in Europe and the US is not organic migration. Well, isn't that the truth?
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
Right?
Yeah, because that's where people get the wrong message. They think that it's anti-migration and immigration, but it's really not. It's actually unnatural migration that is the problem.
This is not natural migration. This is a fake border with people that are entering illegally. That's not natural migration. And that is wreaking havoc. It's wreaking havoc on us, wreaking havoc on the markets and everything else. So that's the of course that's our so-called border, right? That we have there.
You could probably just throw a blanket over it and walk right over.
I'm sure you could. Absolutely. Part of the problem that we can't get anything done is because of banking system that we have.
These are the things that are going on in there. It's like an octopus with arms. These are the things that are going on in there. It's like an octopus with arms. It's many, many arms, but you got to go after the head of the octopus in this one. Who is it? The central banks, the IMF, the ECB, the private West central banks, the BIZ, the Rothschild banks.
The Federal Reserve really, even though it is not part of the federal government, it is more powerful than the federal government. It's more powerful than the president, the Congress, and the courts.
The problem is that since 1864, we've had a debt-based banking system. All our money is based on government debt. We cannot extinguish government debt without extinguishing our money supply. That's why talk of paying off the national debt without reforming our banking system is an impossibility. That's why the solution does not lie in discussing the size of the national debt. Rather, it lies in reforming our banking system. There's nothing federal about the Federal Reserve, and there are no reserves. The name is a deception created back before the Federal Reserve Act was passed in 1913 to make Americans think that America's central bank operates in the public interest.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social
hold on. Boom.
Listen, guys,
we are in
I want it.
monetary.
I did this
guys,
with Chris. This is but I talked about exactly what's going on here and why we're not able to do anything yet, but we need to fight back. And the way we fight back is the monetary revolution. This is how we do it. This is on Chris World. Great guy.
Listen, guys, we are in a monetary revolution. We have been in a monetary revolution for over a decade. I thought I coined the phrase, but apparently it was my good friend Nick Spanos. I said it a few times on stage, and everyone said, "Oh, Nick Spanos." And so maybe I heard it from him. But we need to take the power back from these people. And it's important that everybody understands that the Federal Reserve and the central banks, the people that print the money is not the government. The government's not printing the money. Private people, private families are printing the money. And that's the problem, guys. You wonder why you can't change anything in Congress. You wonder why they don't work for you. You wonder why whatever you vote, however you vote, nothing happens. Well, the reason is because they don't work for you. We have a charade of a government. We have an illusion of a government. We have an illusion of choice. And in fact, we're owned basically by the central banks, the people that print the money. And it's a crazy situation. And the monetary revolution is a peaceful revolution. I've been preaching it for years on stages around the world. The monetary revolution. That's how we take the money. That's how we take the power back from these people. We get out from using their money. And I understand we got to pay the mortgage. You got to pay this. You got to pay that. So fine. Then do that. And then put the rest of the money in gold, in silver, in Bitcoin, in global boost, in Litecoin, in assets that aren't going to go anywhere. That they can't inflate. They can't inflate them. And you know the thing about Bitcoin, Litecoin, and global boost as well is you can set up your coins. You can remember your seed phrase, eight words, right? Put it to a song so you remember it. Don't forget it, okay? But there's no hardware. There's no code on your computer. There's no files. There's no nothing. There's nothing to seize. There's nothing to take. So you could be thrown away.
Meanwhile, we have the people in Davos telling you it's like a Chick-fil-A commercial. Don't eat steak. No steak. Just eat stuff that doesn't make you feel good. You guys remember? Do you remember this this ad campaign, David? This was pretty funny.
Eat more chicken.
Eat more chicken.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, it is pretty crazy, and you know, we talked about it yesterday. Congress just passed. They just passed another continuing resolution, CR, and that is just a absolute abomination, really. So here we have right here another continuing resolution, CR stopgap funding bill passed the House. Everything stays funded. You can see 107 Republicans voted for that. It is all a bit of a show whether they vote for it or they don't vote for it. It's like how much political capital do they need to hang on to in order to really make that stuff to stay afloat and to do what they need to do, and if they have to vote or they don't have to vote. Again, Congress is not running the show. The central bank is running the show. If you control the purse, if you control the money, then you control the show. And the show, the country is being run by the central banks. And that's a big problem. So how do we fix that? Get involved in the monetary revolution. You get into gold. You get into silver. Go to @costmetals.com. Use referral code clubs, or just go to @costmetal.club. Join. $149. You can buy as much gold and silver as you want
at a great price.
At the best prices. You're not going to get a better price than this. So now we're doing live. This is the site here. We're doing some live prices on here. You can see what you'll get and the buy it back as well. So you can either have the stuff sent to you, which you're going to want to do for some of it, and then some of it, of course, you're going to probably want to have at the vault. And if you have it at the vault, then you can buy and sell it from the website itself. So we expect this thing to actually officially launch this weekend, hopefully on Sunday. So we're fingers crossed on that. I know they're doing they're doing a lot of work on it. So
Justin Davis, he's really put this together, huh?
Yeah, Justin Davis, JS, has he's really done an amazing job. It's really something else. So you can get on there, you can buy gold, silver. This stuff, if you look at the gold, how gold is doing, okay. Where's my gold prices? I guess I need to put, here we are. You see nice movement here, okay. But the thing about gold is it's very, very steady. I mean, down 0.2 over 5 days, right? But here we are, almost down a little bit over the last month, 5 months. I mean, it's like so steady. It's like so, we're within a point, right? We're within a point here. Very, very steady, okay? And then as we start to go out, it gets higher and higher, 5% on the 1 year, and of course 55% up on the 5 years. Okay, so crypto, you need crypto too, all right, but you need real blockchains. You need real blockchains like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Global Boost, and those are a little bit more, dollar cost average is going to be a really important way for you to enter those, and those are, those can do a lot as well. But here's the thing: you can't travel, with $50,000, $100,000 in gold, even $20,000 in gold. It's very hard to travel with, okay, or silver. But you can travel with blockchains that are impossible to freeze, seize, take by court order. These old proof of work blockchains like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Global Boost, and you can just remember your seed phrase, as I mentioned in that interview, and take it with you. And have it all over the world. And you need some cash, and you need some property. But this is how we can fight back. They are going to continue to print the money, even as much as they want to bring they want to bring the inflation down. They have no choice. It's an election year. They have to print more money. There's just they have no choice whatsoever. They have to print more money. So you want to diversify. You want to get into things that cannot be inflated. Just think about this, okay? If they're just think about it as like they're going to they took in about less than $1 trillion in income tax last year. They took about $900 billion in income tax last year. Well, with this continuing resolution that we keep doing over and over again, that's going to exceed that amount as well. We just that big abomination of a bill got approved. It was like $900 billion. So we're like basically just over and over and over again, and that's why we can't stop the wars, because of course the central bank, you don't have to go to Congress. Nobody is accountable. Nobody knows who actually runs the central bank. If you Google it, they'll tell you it's a board of governors. But they're not the ones who they're not the families who actually control the bank. They're not the ones actually making the policy. That's to give it an illusion.
The banks are also heavily invested in these wars.
This is how they're making their money. And this whole control over the geopolitical situation is so important for them. I mean, this is what they do. This is what they've been doing for over 100 years. Okay. The Federal Reserve started in 1913, but really the central banks had already really taken a hold. And you heard on that video as well, and I preach it all the time. 1864, we were put on fiat currency. We did try a gold standard in 1900 for a little bit, for a few years. Anyway, we're signing off. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same channel. And we'll also be live in about 5 hours as well in Texas, Louisiana, and around the world with the Porter Brothers signing off. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, Bruce. We'll see everybody later today.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.